Let me start with a truth most people don't want to hear. Time is not neutral. Time is either paying you interest or it's charging you penalties. And here's the scary part. Time never raises its voice, it never sends a warning, and it never asks for permission. It just keeps moving. While you're deciding, time is deducting. While you're delaying, time is collecting. And that's why the title today is not poetic, it's prophetic. Time punishes the lazy. You see, laziness is not always sleeping all day. Sometimes laziness is being busy with the wrong things. Sometimes laziness is saying tomorrow when God said now. The lazy person thinks rest is a reward they can take in advance, but successful people understand this. Rest is earned, not borrowed. When you borrow rest before the work, time charges you interest, lost opportunities, missed growth, and regret. Time rewards discipline and punishes delay. It's never emotional, never personal. Time doesn't care about your excuses, your feelings, or your potential. Time only responds to action. That's why two people can start at the same place with the same talent, the same resources, and in 5 years, one is thriving and the other is surviving. The difference isn't intelligence, it's urgency. One respected time, the other wasted it. Here's a hook you need to catch. Laziness today becomes pain tomorrow, not immediately, because if the punishment were instant, nobody would be lazy. The penalty is delayed, and that delay tricks people. Time allows laziness to feel comfortable in the beginning, but discomfort always shows up later. Comfort now, suffering later. Discipline now, freedom later. You don't escape the price. You only choose when you pay it. Lazy people wait for motivation. Focused people move on principle. High performers don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what does the moment require? Because they understand this law, time amplifies habits. Whatever you repeat, time multiplies. Small daily discipline looks insignificant, but give it time. Small daily laziness looks harmless, but give it time. Time is the multiplier, and it always sides with consistency. Time is not waiting for you, and that truth alone separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Time does not pause because you are confused, tired, afraid, or unprepared. It keeps moving with or without your permission. Every second that passes is gone forever, and whether you used it wisely or wasted it carelessly, time makes no adjustments. This is where most people lose, not because they lack talent, but because they assume time is flexible. It isn't. Time is fixed, and your window to act is always smaller than you think. Here's a hard hook to catch your attention. While you're thinking, someone else is executing. While you're waiting for clarity, someone else is building momentum. Time rewards movement, not contemplation. Many people stay trapped in planning mode, telling themselves they're being smart, when in reality they're being slow. And slowness in a fast-moving world is a silent form of self-sabotage. Time does not need you to be perfect. It needs you to be present and active. Another truth most people avoid is this. Time does not treat everyone equally. It treats everyone fairly, but not equally. Those who move early gain compound advantages. Those who hesitate lose compound opportunities. When you delay action, time doesn't just pass, it reallocates. The chances you ignored don't disappear, they go to someone else who is ready enough to move. Opportunity is loyal to urgency. If you don't act, it will find someone who will. Think about this hook. Delay is not neutral, it's expensive. Every delay has a cost, even if you can't see the invoice yet. Missed skills, missed connections, missed experience, missed confidence, all of these are invisible losses caused by waiting too long. Time doesn't just measure life, it shapes it. The longer you wait, the heavier the resistance becomes. Starting today is always easier than starting later, but lazy thinking convinces people that tomorrow will somehow be better, easier, or clearer. It won't. Tomorrow only magnifies today's habits. High performers understand something average thinkers don't. Speed creates clarity. Action creates understanding. Waiting rarely makes things clearer, it usually makes fear louder. Time doesn't respect intentions, it responds to execution. You don't grow by knowing what to do, you grow by doing what you know. The clock doesn't care how much potential you have. Potential unused is invisible to time. Only action leaves a footprint. Here's another hook you need to hear. Time is either working for you or against you. There is no middle ground. When you move with intention, time compounds your effort. When you stall, time compounds your regret. Most people underestimate how quickly small delays stack up. One day becomes a week. 1 week becomes a year, and suddenly people wake up asking, where did the time go? It didn't go anywhere. It was spent, just not invested. Urgency is not panic, it's respect for reality. Respecting time means understanding that conditions will never be perfect. Confidence comes after action, and readiness is built in motion. Waiting to feel ready is a trap because readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. The people who win early in life are not luckier. They are faster to decide and quicker to act. They understand that time is a one-way system, and once a moment passes, it never circles back. The most dangerous belief you can hold is that you have plenty of time. That belief dulls urgency, weakens discipline, and justifies procrastination. Time doesn't announce its deadlines. It simply closes doors quietly. And when you finally notice, the price of entry has doubled. If you want time to respect you, you must respect it first by acting now, not later, not someday, but while the moment is still alive. Laziness is dangerous not because it destroys you immediately, but because it convinces you that nothing is wrong. That's the trap. Laziness doesn't show up like a crisis. It shows up like comfort. It whispers that you can rest a little longer, wait a little more, postpone one more time. And because there is no instant consequence, people assume there is no consequence at all. That assumption is costly. Laziness is not free. It's just build later. Here's a hook you need to feel. Laziness is a loan with brutal interest. You borrow ease today and repay it tomorrow with stress, limitation, and regret. The payment is delayed, which is why people underestimate it. If laziness hurt immediately, no one would choose it. But time allows it to feel harmless at first. Days pass smoothly, responsibilities feel light, pressure is low. Then one day the bill arrives. Late nights, missed chances, financial strain, and the painful realization that others moved ahead while you stood still. Laziness doesn't mean doing nothing. It often means doing what feels good instead of what matters. It's scrolling instead of studying, resting instead of refining, consuming instead of creating. It's choosing short-term relief over long-term results. And time keeps score quietly. Every hour of avoidance compounds into lost skill. Every postponed effort becomes increased resistance. The longer you delay discipline, the heavier discipline becomes when you finally need it. Another hard hook, the pain you avoid today does not disappear, it just grows. Work does not get easier with time, it gets heavier. Problems ignored don't stay the same size, they expand. The lazy person assumes future energy will solve today's responsibilities, but future energy is built by present action. When you avoid effort now, you weaken your future capacity. Time punishes that weakness without mercy. What makes laziness especially deceptive is that it disguises itself as self-care, patience, or even intelligence. People say they're waiting for the right moment, when in reality they're waiting to feel comfortable. But comfort is not a signal of readiness, it's often a sign of stagnation. Time doesn't reward comfort, it penalizes it. Growth requires friction, and laziness removes friction at the cost of progress. Consider this hook. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Laziness saves you effort in the short term but costs you freedom in the long term. When time has passed and opportunities have closed, you don't get to renegotiate. You don't get refunds on wasted years. Time does not reverse because you finally feel motivated. Motivation that arrives late is expensive motivation. Lazy patterns don't stay small, they spread. One avoided task becomes a habit of avoidance. One excuse becomes a mindset. Over time, laziness trains you to expect results without effort, which makes reality feel unfair when results don't show up. But reality isn't unfair, it's precise. Time simply matches outcomes to behaviors. It rewards what you practice and penalizes what you neglect. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Laziness steals confidence. When you repeatedly avoid doing what you know you should do, you begin to doubt yourself. That self-doubt isn't emotional, it's logical. Your mind stops trusting your promises because you keep breaking them. Time records those broken commitments, and the punishment shows up as hesitation, insecurity, and fear of responsibility. Laziness today doesn't look like failure, it looks like delay. But delay is failure in slow motion. By the time the consequences become obvious, time has already locked in the results. That's why the penalty feels so harsh, because it accumulated quietly while you were comfortable. Time never rushed you, never warned you, never forced you. It simply waited until the cost of laziness was unavoidable and then collected in full. Urgency is what separates winners from wishers. Most people think success is a matter of talent or luck, but the real difference is how quickly someone responds to the call of opportunity. A person who wins moves with speed, not because they are reckless, but because they understand the value of time. Urgency is not panic, urgency is purpose. It's the ability to recognize that a moment is precious and that waiting is not a strategy. When you act with urgency, you are telling time that you respect it, and time responds by giving you more momentum. Here's a hook to sharpen your focus. Urgency is the engine of progress. Without urgency, even the best plans remain dreams. The world does not reward those who plan the most, it rewards those who execute the fastest. The difference between a dreamer and a doer is not the size of the dream, but the speed of action. When you move quickly, you learn quickly. You get feedback, you adapt, you grow. When you delay, you lose the opportunity to refine, to improve, to win. Time does not wait for you to feel ready. It only rewards you for being ready enough to start. Urgency is a mindset that pushes you beyond comfort. It forces you to confront the reality that life is short and competition is real. Many people underestimate how quickly others can move. While you are thinking it over, someone else is already halfway there. This is why urgency is not just about speed, it's about recognition. It's about seeing what most people don't see. That your time is limited, your window is small, and your chances are not guaranteed. When you act with urgency, you refuse to be passive in your own life. Here's another hook you must hear. Urgency creates clarity. When you're pressed by time, you stop overanalyzing and start prioritizing. You stop worrying about perfection and start focusing on progress. The urgent person understands that perfect is the enemy of done. They know that momentum is the most valuable asset in any journey. They understand that action is the best teacher, and that the sooner you begin, the sooner you improve. Time rewards those who move. It does not reward those who wait for a perfect moment that will never come. Urgency is not about rushing blindly. It's about being disciplined and decisive. It's about taking the next step even when you don't have all the answers. The truth is, no one ever feels fully prepared for greatness. Preparation comes through action. If you wait until you feel ready, you may never move at all. Urgency pushes you to start with what you have and improve as you go. That's how champions are made. They don't wait for the storm to pass. They learn to dance in the rain. One of the most powerful aspects of urgency is that it makes you resilient. When you move fast, you learn to adapt fast. You learn to recover quickly from setbacks. You become someone who doesn't get stuck in failure because you know failure is not the end. It's a lesson. Urgency forces you to keep moving, keep adjusting, keep advancing. And when time sees your consistency, it begins to favor you. Momentum becomes your ally. And suddenly the challenges that once seemed impossible become manageable. Here's the final hook for this point. Urgency is not a trait you are born with. It is a decision you make daily. You decide to stop being passive and start being proactive. You decide to stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. You decide to stop wishing and start doing. When you choose urgency, you stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. Because in the end, time rewards the urgent and punishes the passive. The question is not whether you have time. The question is whether you will use it with the urgency it deserves. Daily discipline beats occasional motivation because motivation is temporary and inconsistent, while discipline is a system. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and if you rely on feelings to build your future, you will be left waiting forever. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision you make even when you don't feel like it. It is the ability to do what must be done, not when you want to do it, but when it matters. The person who achieves greatness does not depend on inspiration. They depend on structure, routine, and consistent action. They understand that success is not a single moment of brilliance. It is the result of repeated effort over time. Here's a hook that will wake you up. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the flame. Sparks are exciting, but they burn out quickly. A flame sustains heat, light, and progress. If you want long-term results, you must build a system that works even when you are tired, stressed, or uninspired. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Most people think they need to feel motivated to act, but the truth is that motivation often follows action. When you show up consistently, even on bad days, you create momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence creates motivation. The cycle begins with discipline. Daily discipline is also the only way to overcome resistance. Resistance is the force that tries to keep you where you are. It shows up as procrastination, distraction, and excuses. The more you resist discipline, the stronger resistance becomes. But when you consistently do what you know you should do, resistance begins to weaken. It loses its power over you. This is why discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And time rewards strength. Time amplifies what you practice, and if your practice is discipline, your results will grow exponentially. Here's another hook. Small, consistent actions create big outcomes. Most people underestimate the power of repetition because they only see the immediate impact. They want results today, and when they don't see them, they give up. But the truth is that success is a long game. It's built day by day, step by step. When you commit to daily discipline, you are investing in your future in a way that no motivational speech can replace. Time multiplies consistent effort. One day of discipline may not change your life, but 36. 5 days of discipline will. Discipline is not dramatic, it is effective. Daily discipline also builds character. It shapes who you are, not just what you achieve. When you consistently choose what is hard over what is easy, you develop self-respect. You become the kind of person who can be trusted. And trust is one of the most valuable assets you can have. People who are disciplined are reliable. They are the ones who get promoted, the ones who are trusted with responsibility, the ones who build lasting success. Discipline is not just about achieving goals. It is about becoming the kind of person who naturally achieves them. Another hook you must understand is that discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. When you are disciplined, you are not controlled by your emotions or cravings. You are in control of your life. Discipline creates stability, and stability creates opportunity. The disciplined person is not a slave to mood. They are a master of routine. They show up regardless of how they feel because they understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. They know that daily discipline is the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. The difference between occasional motivation and daily discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. Motivation is a visitor, discipline is a resident. If you want success that lasts, you must stop waiting for inspiration and start building systems. You must stop depending on how you feel and start committing to what you know is necessary. Because in the long run, time does not reward motivation. Time rewards consistency, and consistency is built through daily discipline. Comfort is the enemy of growth because growth demands discomfort. When you are comfortable, you are not expanding, you are maintaining. Comfort is the softest prison because it feels safe. It doesn't look like failure, it looks like peace. But peace without progress is not peace at all. It is stagnation. Growth requires friction, challenge, and effort. If you never feel uncomfortable, you are not moving forward. You are simply settling, and settling is a slow form of dying. The moment you choose comfort over growth, time begins to work against you. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. Time rewards movement, not comfort. Here is a hook that will hit you hard. Comfort is a trap disguised as a blessing. Many people say they want success, but they are not willing to leave the comfort zone that holds them. They want the rewards without the price. They want the promotion without the extra hours. They want the body without the discipline. They want the wealth without the sacrifice. But the universe does not negotiate with comfort. Comfort will always cost you more than you think. The longer you stay comfortable, the more your potential fades. Time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It waits for you to stop making excuses and start taking action. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires change, and change forces you to confront your weaknesses. When you grow, you learn new skills, you take on new responsibilities, and you face new challenges. This process is not easy, and that is why most people avoid it. They would rather remain in their comfort zone and stay small. But comfort is not your destiny. Comfort is a choice, and every choice you make shapes your future. The people who achieve greatness are not those who avoid discomfort. They are those who embrace it. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but the results are lasting. Another hook you must understand, comfort creates a false sense of security. It makes you believe that your current situation is permanent. But time is constantly moving, and if you are not growing, you are falling behind. The world is evolving, technology is advancing, and competition is increasing. If you stay comfortable, you become outdated. Your skills become irrelevant. Your dreams become distant. Comfort does not protect you, it exposes you. The moment you stop growing, you begin to shrink. Time does not reward stagnation. Time rewards adaptation. Comfort also dulls ambition. When you are comfortable, you stop dreaming bigger. You start justifying mediocrity. You tell yourself that this is enough, or I'm doing fine. But fine is not a destination. Fine is a compromise, and compromise is a slow death of your potential. Growth requires a hunger that cannot be satisfied by comfort. Growth requires a vision that is bigger than your current circumstances. If you want more, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. You must be willing to pay the price of progress. Here's a powerful hook. Discomfort is the currency of success. Every successful person has paid it. They have endured the early mornings, the long hours, the rejection, the discipline, and the sacrifice. They did not wait for comfort to arrive. They created it through effort. Comfort is not the starting point. It is the result of consistent growth. When you are willing to be uncomfortable today, you build a future where comfort is earned, not given. That is the difference between a life of convenience and a life of achievement. Comfort is not wrong in itself. Rest is necessary and balance is important. But comfort becomes dangerous when it becomes a lifestyle. When comfort becomes your priority, growth becomes your enemy. You must learn to distinguish between rest and stagnation. Rest restores you. Stagnation drains you. Rest is temporary. Stagnation is permanent. If you want to grow, you must accept that discomfort is part of the process. You must stop chasing comfort and start chasing progress, because time rewards those who move forward, not those who stay safe. You either control time or time controls you, and that truth is the foundation of every successful life. Time is not just a measurement, it is a force. It shapes your results, your relationships, your health, your wealth, and your legacy. When you control your time, you control your destiny. When time controls you, you become a passenger in your own life. You wake up one day and realize that your dreams didn't happen because you didn't schedule them. You didn't plan them. You didn't protect them. You simply allowed time to fill your days with whatever was convenient, and in the process, you lost the life you wanted. Here's a hook. that should make you pause. Time is either your asset or your enemy, but it is never neutral. If you do not give time a direction, it will give you a consequence. Time doesn't care about your intentions. It cares about your actions. If you don't manage your time, your habits will manage it for you. And habits are powerful. They are the invisible forces that shape your life. If your habits are weak, time will magnify that weakness. If your habits are strong, time will magnify your strength. That's why the way you use your time is the most accurate predictor of your future. Controlling time means making decisions intentionally. It means setting priorities and protecting them fiercely. It means understanding that every minute is a resource that can never be recovered. Most people waste time because they don't value it. They spend hours on meaningless activities, then wonder why they are not progressing. They confuse being busy with being productive. Time does not reward busy people, it rewards focused people. Focus is the bridge between effort and results. If you want time to work for you, you must use it with focus, not chaos. Another hook you must understand is this: the people who win in life are not the ones with more time, they are the ones who use their time better. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The difference is what you do with them. You can waste hours scrolling, complaining, or procrastinating and still feel like you did something. Or you can invest those hours in learning, creating, and building. Time is the most democratic resource, but it is also the most unforgiving. It doesn't care about your excuses. It cares about your choices. Time control also requires discipline. Discipline is what keeps you consistent. Consistency is what builds momentum. Momentum is what creates results. When you are disciplined with your time, you become unstoppable. You begin to do the important things even when you don't feel like it. You begin to take action instead of waiting for motivation. You begin to build a life that is designed, not drifted into. And when you design your life, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are creating the circumstances. Here's another powerful hook. Time control is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. You can be busy all day and still accomplish nothing of value. The key is to focus on high-impact activities, the activities that move you closer to your goals, the activities that build your future. When you focus on what matters, time becomes your ally. When you focus on distractions, time becomes your enemy. Time will always amplify your priorities. That's why it's so important to choose them wisely. If you allow time to control you, you will always be reacting. You will be responding to demands, emergencies, and other people's agendas. You will live a life of constant urgency, never peace. But if you control time, you become proactive. You set your own pace. You create your own schedule. You decide what is important and what is not. You become the leader of your own life, and leadership is the highest form of self-respect. When you control your time, you honor yourself, you honor your goals, you honor your potential, because time is not just passing. You are building your future with every moment. So let me leave you with this. Stop asking time to be patient with you. Time has already given you enough grace. The question is not whether you have time. The question is whether you are using it with intention. Decide today that you will no longer let time punish you. Make it work for you. Get uncomfortable now so your future can breathe. Move now so tomorrow can thank you. Because in the end, time never lies, never forgets, and never refunds. It only rewards the disciplined and punishes the lazy.